So think of the AI more like as a child, like your 5 or 6 year old or your 4 year old niece who will, they'll talk to you and they'll just make up stories that sound good and they're looking for attention from you or they're looking for feedback. That's what it is. It's like a child who just knows everything. It's like a child with a really, really good memory that has memorized tons of stuff, but doesn't really have a functional understanding of what it's responding with. I think people want these things. They think that AI means that it's Einstein or Data from Star Trek. It's your 3 year old niece, right? It's your 3 year old niece who happens to have a photographic memory and has just been absorbing huge. I mean, I have a nephew, and he just absorbed huge amounts of information. He was watching Paw Patrol, and they have the construction guys, Rumble and Paw Patrol. So he became obsessed with construction. Now it turns out his dad has a photographic memory, so the kid has an incredible memory. So he would just read books and books and books and books and books on construction. We didn't know what he's reading. He's 3 years. He's like 5 years old. So you'd ask him questions and he'd talk about it, and he can sort of regurgitate what he heard. He can do basic pattern matching and he has some basic logic, but he's still a child. He still makes stuff up. He still says stuff to you that doesn't make any sense. He still gets confused over things that are, that he doesn't really understand aren't real. It's the same thing, you
Yeah.
know. You're not dealing with an experienced. It only seems like it's an experienced professional because it's talking about all these complex topics,
Yeah.
but it's really just a small child who is a bit of a prodigy in terms of his memory.
Yeah.
He just memorizes lots of stuff.
Exactly. Kind of like a
And,
talking
and
parrot, you know? Like a talking parrot. You
well,
tell it
yeah, I mean,
something, just spit it back out to you almost.
parrots are smart.
Yeah.
Parrots, no one they understand some of what they're saying. They don't
Yeah.
understand English, but they understand like they can curse at you and they know how you respond.
Yeah.
Like they'll say strings of words and they watch how you respond and they learn how to do stuff. They're not stupid. They're not human, right? I mean, they can. So that's the same thing. Like it has some basic reasoning ability, but it's not. It's not a PhD level doc. It's not a brain surgeon. It just sounds like one, and that's the problem. And people think that because it sounds good that it must be right, and it's more of a BS artist, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be very careful because it will sound something. It will say things that seem really correct, and it turns out to be completely wrong. And it's very subtle, and they're very subtle, and you have to pay attention very closely to what's going on because it does that, and that's just how the technology works. You're not going to get around that.
Yeah.
Um, you're not going to get around that um, with it just you're not going to get around it using RAG or using data. It's just you have to really work hard to figure out what this thing is doing. You have to be very careful with it
Yeah.
because it will make stuff up.